Hey guys, I'm Brianna, welcome back to my channel. So today is October 13th and I'm super excited to be filming this video for you guys because I'm going to be doing a Halloween slash fall reading recommendations. And some of these books are thrillers, some of these books are just books that are fall-y themed that I think are really good. Some of them have violence and I don't know. It's just like a combination of all that, and I'm very excited that it's Friday the 13th because that's so cool, guys. But yeah, so I'm gonna get right into the video. So the first book I have is The Safest Lies by Megan Miranda. If you guys, well, my Spookathon TBR is coming up, but I'm going to be reading this. The only reason I'm recommending it is because I've been seeing really good reviews about this book. So it seems really good. It's a fast-paced thriller. It's about a girl who was kidnapped and she's actually pregnant with her kidnapper's baby, and she's kind of suffering from PTSD after being found by the police, and then all of a sudden her mother goes missing. So it's kind of like what happened, all this stuff, and the cover's gorgeous, so I'm very excited to read this book. The next book I have is The Dead List by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This follows a girl who's being stalked, and it's kind of like all these things that are happening to her. There's a clown mask, there's a dead bird, there's all this scary stuff that's happening, and it just seems really cool, and I'm very excited to pick this up soon. The next book is How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather. This follows a girl whose parents, well, her father and her grandfather and their ancestors were in charge of the Salem witch trials, and she moves back to Salem, Massachusetts, and no one accepts her because of what her ancestors were involved in. So it's kind of like that, and she's trying to solve a mystery and all this stuff. This book came out last year, so I would definitely go check it out if you guys want something spooky slash Halloween witchy type book. The next book I have is Girl As Seen by Nina Lauren. This book follows a girl who is missing, and then 13 years later, her friend goes missing. So it's kind of like they didn't solve the first murder of the girl yet, or not murder, of the kidnapping or the missing or where she went, and then all of a sudden her best friend goes missing. So it's kind of like what's happening, and this book is such a psychological thriller. It's very scary. It is very adult with just some of the suspenseful moments, so I definitely recommend this book. The next book I have is Blackbirds of the Gallows by Meg Castle. This was a new release in September, and not only is this cover beautiful, guys, this book was so good, and it's perfect for October. It's just very spooky, and just the themes of this book were very different. It's kind of a supernatural type book-ish, but there's a lot of like death. There's like the harbingers of death, a lot of the stuff that you've seen on like TV shows like Supernatural or Teen Wolf has some stuff. This book was just so good. I loved it so much, and I received an early copy of it, and I should have waited until October to read it, but it's so good. I 100% recommend it if you want something very different. It's definitely kind of a fantasy thriller because there is some, I guess, fantasy parts, but it's very dark. So if you're into this stuff, I definitely urge you guys to pick this up. The next book I have, it's more of a dark fantasy, that's why I'm recommending it, but it's A Shadow Bright and Burning by Jessica Cluas. The second book just came out, so this book was from last year, and I absolutely loved this book. I read this book in October last year, and this book was so great. It takes place in Victorian London, so not only does it give you like that vibe, but just like this whole book is very dark, and it talks about magic users, like sorceress, all this stuff. So this follows a girl who is believed to be the first female sorcerer, and she believes that she's not, but everyone thinks she is, so she's trying to put up this guise that she is, but there's so many things like happening around her, and it's just so good. Like, who's gonna defeat these ancient evil beings? And I absolutely love this book. I cannot wait for the next book. It's on my TBR. I have to get to it soon, but I definitely recommend this book to you guys. The next book I have is not a Halloween book. It's like the only exception here. It's more like a fall book, but I had to recommend it because it's just so good. And if you guys don't know me, then I don't know if you're gonna know this book, but it's Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is a TV show on Starz, so I do recommend watching the TV show because it does a great job following the books. But this book is my literal baby, and I love it so much. This is a adult historical fiction, if you don't know, and it is really big, so it is kind of intimidating. But this follows a girl named Claire. She's a World War II nurse, and the war just ends, and she ends up taking a vacation with her husband, Frank, and they go to Scotland on vacation to try and get away from the aftermath of the war. And all of a sudden, she kind of time travels back to 1700s Scotland, and it's just all this like crazy stuff that happens. It's very political, a lot of the book too, which I found really interesting. It talks a lot about Scottish history, and it's just so good. The characters in this book, the character development, it's so amazing. Like, I would have been just fine if it was just this one book and not the rest of the series, but so good. Definitely recommend it. It 100% gives me fall vibes just because of just everything, and I love anything Scottish, if you guys don't know. I tend to gravitate towards that, but this book is so heart-wrenching. There's so many good things. There's so many plot twists. You're just reading this. I cried about like a good 10 times during reading this book, and just read it, guys. It's so good. Even if you don't read it in October, read it sometime in the fall, because that's the best time to read this. And yeah, so good, guys, so good. The next book I have here is Carvel by Stephanie Garber. This is a twisted carnival book. I say it like that because it is dark as well. I have like a lot of dark books, guys. I don't really know why. But this claims to be YA, but I don't really know because some of the themes in here are like older-ish. But this book was really good. I was very surprised with how much I did enjoy this, and we just found out there's going to be a second book, and I'm very excited for that. It's coming out sometime in 2018. I forgot the title, I just don't remember, but I met Stephanie. She was super nice, and this book is so good. It follows these two girls that haven't left their hometown, but they're sisters. So one sister, I believe she's the older one, she really wants to go to this carnival, and this carnival is kind of a myth and legend, but you've heard like different really crazy things about the carnival, so they end up getting an invitation, and when they get there, the older sister ends up disappearing, and the younger sister is in charge of finding her. But it's kind of like sick mind games that are happening, like she's seeing stuff that aren't there, and she has to team up with someone, but then they're stabbing her in the back. It's just such a good book, and I loved it so much, and I definitely want to read the next one. I feel like the ending, I can't remember if there was a cliffhanger or not, but I definitely recommend this book for the fall. I read this, came out in January, so I think I did read it in January, but it's definitely a fall read for sure. The next book I have is Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I'm going to be doing a book review of this soon, so I'm not going to talk too much about this, but this was a 5 out of 5 star book for me. That's all I can say, guys. It was just so good. It's going to be a double book review with Invictus because I know someone requested that, and I kind of want to just talk about both of them in one video. But this is so good. If you guys liked ACOTAR, definitely read this. This book is so short, but it took me a whole week to finish, and that, for me, I'm a fast reader, so normally like a book will take me, depending on how long, like a 400-page book will take me like 2 days. But this book, just the writing was so poetic, and it was just the details of everything were so amazing that it took me the week to finish because I was reading it word for word on the page. But I definitely recommend this book. So good. This follows a girl who's a portrait artist, and it talks about like fae and everything. But the fae are depicted differently in this book, like every other book out there. So you go into this with a fresh mind, and she ends up painting a human emotion on this fae's portrait, and that's a no-no in that world. It's an illegal crime. So it kind of goes like this, but this is so dark, and it did kind of remind me of like a Holly Black type of book, but I'm so happy to read this. But I'm so sad that this is a standalone because I need more. But it was so good. I can't, guys. Like, I'll talk more about it in my review, but it was so good. And the last book I have here is The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr. This book was phenomenal. I did finish this already in this month. This follows a girl who has dactylomania, where she basically wants to murder anybody that she sees. So she'll see like the postman, he's delivering a package to her, and she thinks of all these different ways that she wants to kill him. It's like just a disease, and it kind of stems with what happened to her in childhood, and it's kind of like genetics. But this book was really good. It was such a psychological thriller, and I loved it so much that I'm actually getting this one and the next two in the series off of Amazon because I need to read them like now. But it was super good. I definitely recommend it if you want the psychological thriller. And I loved how the author just like researched so much information about this book, because it was a very informational book about different lifestyles that you didn't really know. But I love this book so much. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys really liked my Halloween/fall recommendations. And definitely check all these books out because these books are so amazing. And I wouldn't be recommending them if they weren't. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!